Hey, have you felt like food controls your life? Like one moment you're being, quote, good, eating all the right things, and the next you're spiraling into guilt, shame, and feeling completely out of control. If so, I want you to know you're not alone, and more importantly, it's not your fault. This week is International Eating Disorder Awareness Week, and while I'm not an eating disorder specialist, I am a certified intuitive eating counsellor who helps women heal their relationship with food, break free from diet culture, and reclaim their self-worth. And for me, it isn't just professional, it's personal. In today's episode, I want to share a part of my own story, how I struggled with disordered eating and started starving myself in my teens, and how they were deeply connected to my past trauma and how this affected my relationships, my self-worth, and my sense of control. So if you've ever used food to numb pain, punish yourself, or feel some sense of control in a chaotic world, this episode is for you. Welcome to The Secrets in the Powder Room, where we share stories and open up conversations about all the secrets women are forced to keep out of fear and shame. I'm Louise Bryant, professional certified coach, intuitive eating counsellor, and trauma-informed domestic abuse specialist and survivor. We're here to support you on your healing journey and help you feel like you're not alone. This is not to be a replacement of your own professional, medical, or legal advice. This podcast contains adult language and content. Listener discretion is advised. So for as long as I can remember, food and my body felt like a problem to fix. My earliest memories of feeling insecure about my body go back to when I was about 8 years old, a young gymnast in the 80s and 90s, idealising tiny weightless gymnasts like Nadia Comaneci and Daniela Silavash. And I vividly remember watching the film Nadia Comaneci, where she was portrayed as, quote, fat, after moving to compete in America and gaining access to food. And I absorbed this message: the lighter you are, the higher you fly. And as a child, I was strong and muscular, but next to my tiny teammates, I felt big. And when I left gymnastics in my early teens, I gained weight really quickly, and I developed stretch marks, and I grew to hate my body even more. And then that was when I started to starve myself. I was starving and surviving on laxatives and lollipops just to shrink myself down again. And in my late teens, the need to control my body had completely taken over, and I turned to appetite suppressants, desperate to stay thin. I loved it when my friends joked that I had to walk with my arms out so that I wouldn't fall down drains. And I clung on to that praise. But inside, I was miserable. Even at my smallest, it still wasn't enough. And I still wasn't enough. Not for myself anyway. And definitely not for my boyfriend, who told me that he would leave me if I ever got fat. And he cheated on me anyway. So it didn't work staying skinny to try and keep him. So I think I tried every diet over the years, obsessing about my weight. I've cycled through binging, restricting and punishing my body. And back then I didn't understand what was really happening. But now looking back, I see clearly my struggles with food weren't about food at all. They were about control, because the truth is I'm a survivor of childhood sexual abuse. And when you experience trauma like that, especially at such a young age, it shatters your sense of safety, autonomy and self-worth. And you learn to disconnect from your body because it doesn't feel safe to exist in it. But here's what I've also learnt. Healing is possible, and it starts with reclaiming your body, your relationship with food, and most of all with your relationship with yourself. So back then I felt like I didn't value myself, I didn't feel worthy of love or care, and I ended up in toxic and abusive relationships because deep down I didn't believe that I deserved any better than that. So I did what many survivors do, I guess. I tried to control the one thing that I thought I could, and that was food and my body. And here's where it gets a little bit tricky, because disordered eating can feel like control, but it's actually the opposite. the more we try to restrict or punish or shrink ourselves, the more we lose trust in our bodies and our own inner wisdom. So maybe you can relate to this. Maybe food has felt like a comfort or a punishment. Maybe your body has felt like you needed to fix it rather than a home for you to care for. Maybe you've settled for less than you deserve in a relationship because deep down you didn't feel worthy of more than that. And if any of this resonates with you, I see you and I want you to know there is another way. So if controlling food isn't the answer, then what is? So I teach a food and body freedom course, and this is about unlearning diet culture and rebuilding trust in your body. Instead of having food rules and calorie counting or restrictions, it's about giving yourself unconditional permission to eat. It's about reconnecting with your hunger and fullness cues and making peace with food so that you don't feel out of control around it. We want to be moving our bodies in a way that feels good and not as a punishment, and practicing self-compassion instead of self-criticism. And when I found intuitive eating, everything changed. I stopped punishing myself for eating. I started listening to my body instead of fighting it. And most importantly, I started to value myself, not just my body. Healing from disordered eating wasn't about food. It was about learning to love and care for myself in every area of my life. And that's exactly what I help women do now. So, as always with my podcasts, I like to give you a few journaling prompts, and always on my blog there are more journaling prompts, so feel free to go over there if you want to take this a little bit deeper. So, what messages did you learn about food and your body as you were growing up? In what ways have you used food to feel in control or out of control? And how can you start practicing self-compassion instead of self-judgment when it comes to food? So if today's episode resonates with you and you're ready to ditch diet culture and finally find peace with food, I'd love to support you on your journey. You can join my free membership where I have a self-care course for you on there to get you started, and I have a food and body freedom course that has a waiting list at the moment, but if you join my membership you can get some support with that right now. But also you can work with me one-to-one if you've been through trauma or disordered eating or a toxic relationship and you're ready to heal. I offer one-to-one coaching to help you rebuild trust with food, your body, set boundaries and create a life where you come first. So to find out more, check the links, head over to my website and send me a DM on Instagram or through my website, and have lots of other free resources that you can download too. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Secrets in the Powder Room podcast with me, Louise Bryant. Remember, you are not failing, your body is not the problem, and food is not the enemy. You deserve freedom, joy, and peace in your relationship with food, your body, and other people. If this episode spoke to you, please like and share or leave a review, as this helps spread the message to more women that need to hear it. Until next time, take care of yourself, listen to your body, and know that you are enough exactly as you are.